You are a failure. It's pretty harsh, but it's true. That's how I felt about a year and a half ago when I looked up and realized I was almost 30 years old and I hadn't accomplished any of the things I set out to accomplish so far. Um, sometimes you set out, I was going to school, I was writing screenplays, and I wanted to be in the film industry, but I started to have bills and I just let it go. And I went to work and I had been doing that for 7 years. But last year, I entered back to school. I went to Full Sail for entertainment business, and now I'm pushing forward toward my dreams. And that's what you have to do in life. You have to take that risk. You have to take a leap and push forward and go for it. Really. What I'm going to talk to you about today is overcoming the resistance that we all have inside that stops us from being able to succeed in life. Steven Pressfield is a very successful author. He wrote The Legend of Bagger Vance, and he talks about this internal resistance and what it does to us in stopping us from being able to succeed and in any field, with the major contributor to resistance being fear. We all have our own types of fear. There's a fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of hard work, and on some level, for some people, there's a fear of success, which can be just as crippling as any other issue. Um, the other main component of resistance is the procrastination, which procrastination is the killer of man. It's talking about what we're going to do and putting it off until really, with our dreams, it can be until there is no more time and life is over. As far as what drives these forces, the fear, the procrastination, the resistance, it's all internal. And what you're going to see here is there are a lot of people who have overcome those and become very successful. They've gone through their failures and they've broken through. They've made it to the other side. And you'll also learn that success is not necessarily being the best at everything or the best in your field. It's not the best at life. It's not having everything, but you won't know and you won't succeed unless you actually take that action, which is the most important thing. Meg Whitman here is the CEO of eBay and an author, and she talks about how it's a bigger issue to have never tried than it is to try and fail. Henry Ford is a perfect example of this. He failed and bankrupted himself 5 times before he ever succeeded with Ford Motor Company, and if you look at history, he is probably the king of the automotive industry in the United States in the 20th century. Wayne Gretzky's quote about missing 100% of the shots you don't take has to extend further than just sports or hockey. You have to look at it with life. Gretzky held almost every offensive record in the NHL, but he only made 17% of his shots. The same thing can be said for Babe Ruth. He struck out well over 1,000 times, but he hit 714 home runs and was the record holder for over 40 years. And Ruth said, "Every strike brings me closer to the next home run," which has to be the philosophy with failure. You can't succeed just going straight forward. As this graphic indicates, when you look at success as a straight arrow, the first time you hit a bump in the road, you're going to quit, and that's not how you succeed. You have to go with the failures, embrace them, and learn from them. And as I spoke earlier about the different types of success, John Wooden was the best college basketball coach ever, winning 10 championships in 12 years. But his real successes came from his students who didn't make it to the NBA. They were doctors and lawyers and teachers, and that's what he preached: succeeding at what you feel is successful, and doing your best. Penn Densham, also in his book Riding the Alligator, talks about how to succeed in anything you have to have a passion for what you're doing, because if you don't, you're really just going through the motions. And that brings us to Edison, who no one tried more than Edison. He wanted to create the light bulb, and he failed over 1,000 times. And if he was still alive and he hadn't done it, he would still be trying. But luckily, we're not using candles to light our homes now. Um, to move forward and to take your action, I would like you to go home and think about making a plan, sitting down and taking your calendar and doing something towards that plan once a day. And once you've done it that day, mark it off with a big red X and see how many days in a row you can go, and then see how you feel once you've missed a day. And keep trying, because everyone fails. Oprah Winfrey was told when she was fired from her news station in Tennessee that she wasn't cut out for television. And she is probably the richest woman in the world at this point. And another example would be J.K. Rowling, who she was divorced, she was depressed, she was on welfare, and somehow she still managed to spin that into the Harry Potter series, and she's also one of the richest women in the world. All of these people have gone through ups and downs. They've tried as hard as they can. I'm joining them and pushing forward, and it's all you can do is go out there and give it a shot. And if you can go out there and join us today, you too can succeed.